My mom used to tell us you can't fall in love. But I wanted to fall in love.
I thought I'd have a really nice romantic husband that would travel the world.
Me and my sisters, we would dream of like getting my mum's outfits out and dressing up and playing like marriage with our favourite TV characters. I've never really experienced an arranged marriage myself, and I hope that's different for my generation. But I know for my parents and their siblings, arranged marriages can be quite sort of a big family decision. So their parents will have a lot of say in who that other person is.
Everything was arranged. Mom and dad did everything. You didn't have to do anything. I was 30 years old when I got married.
Is this a normal age for women to get married within your faith?
Yes. In fact, that's going towards the latter end of it, going too late. Usually at 23, 24, people are supposed to be married. If you're not married and you go to the temple and women look at you, the first thing they say is, oh, how old is she? Why is she not married? Why are they not looking? Is there something wrong? So yes, you are looked upon differently if you're not married.
How did you feel on your wedding day?
Butterflies, anxiety, everything coming together.
I was so happy and relaxed and peaceful on my wedding day, which I did not expect.
Magical. I was getting married.
How did you feel on your wedding day?
Nervous, anxious, depressed. I didn't know my husband, so it wasn't easy. I did cry a lot. I still remember I was crying at the temple and finding ways of running away.
When it comes to the role of women in the house,
They think, oh, she's just there to cook, clean, feed, and that's it.
in a marriage, as a parent, I think this, you won't just become someone's wife, you'll become someone's daughter-in-law, and you'll become kind of that is a huge part of then kind of the label that you take on by entering that relationship. When marriage was discussed in like a more of an arranged way, and I think for a long time I felt like that would have been my only option as a young person, that everyone seemed to want me to marry a specific type of person and for them to be able to vet who they are and agree to it, and I didn't feel like a lot of the choice would have been mine. So a lot of anger and a lot of like, it made me feel really disengaged, I think, with my culture and my community because of it, and it just felt like we weren't on the same page.
I always thought if I ever got married, I would want to get married to someone who loved me, who wasn't ashamed to hold my hand or put his arm around me in public. Just to have a cuddle, or even if there's a family member around, to be proud of me as his partner or his wife. It was considered taboo. It wasn't considered something that was normal to get married out of the community. And then we went into a phase where it's normal, we're modern, let's move on. But now it's going back to a place where the gurdwaras will not allow you to get married if you're not of the same faith.
I think there's a bit of like a really good tension in this idea that where all the traditional stuff's meeting this new stuff, and it's shifting with time, and it's not saying it's easy for people, but it's getting there. So I think, yeah, we'll get there hopefully.
One should marry a Sikh. Personally, culturally, when you marry into your own culture, we have a way of doing things in every culture. Yes, when we marry outside the culture, you bring in that person to accept your culture.
So I think it's a really challenging thing for elder generations in our community, and that's why I think it can be a little bit looked down upon.
you are not allowed to get married if you're not from the Sikh community inside the Gurdwara.
And then there's the language barrier. And then you don't want to be rude because you're speaking one language and your partner might be speaking a different language. And it's always seen as an outsider.
And just remember that at the heart of Sikhi and what we're taught is actually everyone's equal, no matter who they are, what their background is.
Within your society, they'll be standing out.
What their religion is. We're all here equally on this earth, so don't be sort of steered too heavily by other people's views on who you should be with.
I think our third fight into the marriage, which was 3 weeks down the line, saying, this is not an Indian movie and we're not going to hold hand and run around trees with an Indian song playing in the background. So that was a reality check.
Would you impose this onto your daughters?
Arranged marriage. Yes and no.
I wouldn't want any pressure on my daughters in the future to want to need to have an arranged marriage or to feel like they've got to meet a certain expectation of mine. I think I felt how negative that was for me. I'd want them to feel the same freedom.
Yes, in the sense that I do want them to get married. I will find someone. If I get a good match, I will. I know if they're not going to go out, if they're not going to get to know the person, if they're not going to a bit of time together, they have to spend a bit of time before they actually do what we've done. Because I wouldn't want them to go through what I've gone through.
One piece of advice I'd give to a younger Sikh woman, I would say be yourself. Don't worry too much about what other people think of you. I know that's so much easier said than done, but you're not alone.
Enjoy your life, follow your careers, but don't forget, you can always follow your career even after your marriage. But once you pass a certain age, it becomes difficult to find the right match.
Piece of advice I would give her is find the right person. Be compatible. Because you've got to, what you like, he's got to like. Yes? Respect. Find the person who loves you more than you love him.
I bought a huge orange. The size of it made us all laugh. I peeled it and shared it with Robert and Dave. They got quarters and I had a half. And that orange, it made me so happy, as ordinary things often do just lately. The shopping, a walk in the park, this peace and contentment, it's new. The rest of the day was quite easy. I did all the jobs on my list. I enjoyed them and had some time. I love you and glad I exist.